The hard server. Have you ever heard someone say that Earth isn't beginner-friendly? Well, they probably haven't tried the Middle East server. This place has been running the Conflict expansion pack for so long that nobody even remembers when the original game launched. Imagine waking up on a completely normal Saturday morning. You make tea, you check your phone, and the first headline you see sounds like the plot of a Call of Duty campaign. At this point, many Middle Eastern players don't even react anymore. A missile flies overhead. Everybody looks up, checks the news, then goes back to drinking tea. Because honestly, what else are you supposed to do? Meanwhile, Europeans are watching the news like, oh no, a train was delayed by 7 minutes. And Middle Eastern players are sitting there wondering if that's supposed to be a joke. The Middle East may not be the easiest server. It may not be the most stable server. But if life is a video game, this is definitely one of the servers with the most content. Survival mode. Have you ever wondered what happens when developers release a map with almost every biome unlocked? Welcome to the Africa server. This server has everything. Deserts, jungles, mountains, massive cities. But the difficulty settings are completely random. One region gives you luxury beaches and modern scalenes. The next region gives you roads that haven't received an update since the beta version. And then there's the Somalia region. Pirates turned the coastline into an unofficial PvP zone. Some players literally hijack cargo ships for millions of dollars in ransom. Even today, although piracy has decreased a lot compared to its peak, security in some areas is still a challenge. But don't think the entire Africa server is like Somalia. That's one of the biggest misconceptions new players make. Countries like Botswana, Rwanda, and Mauritius are considered some of the most stable regions on the continent. This server is absolutely overpowered. Gold, diamonds, oil, cobalt, uranium. Unfortunately, other players have been farming this map for centuries. Balanced server. Have you ever joined a game server where every update somehow made the players' lives easier? Welcome to the Europ server. At first glance, this place almost feels overpowered. The cities are clean. Public transportation actually arrives on time most of the time. Healthcare is available to millions of players, and centuries-old castles somehow exist right next to modern skyscrapers. But after playing for a while, you realize Europe isn't really one server. It's dozens of completely different servers pretending to be one.
Bonjour madame.
Walk across a single border and the language changes. In very few places on Earth can you travel such a short distance and feel like you've entered another world. The economy is one of the strongest on the planet, but your wallet may disagree. In many cities, renting a small apartment can feel like fighting the final boss, and buying a house is considered a late-game achievement. Of course, Europe isn't perfect. Winters in the north can feel endless. Summers in the south regularly turn into survival mode. Bureaucracy can test your patience. And despite living on one of the most peaceful servers today, the map is covered with reminders that it wasn't always like this. Extreme cold. The Arctic is one of those servers where the first question isn't, how do I survive here? It's, why did anybody come here in the first place? Because if you look at the map, it's basically ice, more ice, and then even more ice. The weather doesn't just get cold here, it gets the kind of cold that makes your regular winter jacket feel like a cosmetic item. Then there's the daylight system. Depending on when you spawn, the sun can stay up for months or disappear for months. Wildlife here is also built differently. Polar bears walk around like they own the map, because honestly they kind of do. Human settlements exist, but compared to most places on Earth, the player count is tiny. Most people who live here are either incredibly tough or lost a bet. And despite all the challenges, the Arctic is absolutely beautiful. No players. If the Arctic feels empty, Antarctica feels unfinished. This is the only major server on Earth where almost nobody lives permanently. No large cities, no highways, no shopping malls, just ice. The temperatures here are so ridiculous that after a certain point, adding extra cold doesn't even sound impressive anymore. There are research stations scattered across the continent, filled with scientists who voluntarily chose to live in one of the harshest environments on Earth. The wildlife is also very different from the Arctic. No polar bears. Instead, you get penguins. Lots of penguins, which somehow makes the entire server feel both friendlier and more absurd at the same time. The isolation is probably the strangest part. You can stand in Antarctica and be farther away from large populations than almost anywhere else on Earth. Chaos server. Welcome to the South America server. This place feels like the developers couldn't decide on a theme, so they added everything. The world's largest rainforest, one of the driest deserts ever recorded, the longest mountain range on Earth, massive waterfalls, endless beaches, and cities that never seem to sleep. The Amazon biome alone is so huge that parts of it are still barely explored. Thousands of species spawn here, and not all of them are friendly. Venomous snakes, jaguars, poison dart frogs, and enough mosquitoes to make you question every life choice. This server also has one of the strongest football communities on Earth. In some regions, football isn't just a sport, it's practically a religion. Economically, this server is a gamble. Some countries are growing steadily. Others have experienced inflation so extreme that prices can change overnight. In some major cities, crime becomes its own side quest. Keeping your phone in your pocket can feel like a stealth mission. And that's the end of part 1. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. See you in part 2.